side. Andy Dibble returns to the goal. He's missed 9 games with back trouble in front of him. A defensive line of Gary Fleming, Brian Gale, Steve Redmond and Andy Hinchcliffe. Ian Bishop has had a minor operation this week on a damaged nose, but he retains his midfield place alongside current England under-21 internationals Ian Brightwell and Paul Lake. Striker Trevor Morley has also missed some training since last weekend with a swollen knee, but it's David White, David Oldfield and Morley in attack, with Clive Allen continuing his comeback as a substitute and Justin Fashanu starting his comeback. He's not played in the Football League since January 1986. Aston Villa, of course, have the dependable Nigel Spink in goal. Injuries have deprived Graham Taylor of Paul McGrath and Bernie Gallagher, so the Dane Kent Nielsen keeps his place, and Kevin Gage is asked again to display his versatility, this time at left-back. In midfield, 18-year-old Mark Blake, only his second league game, but plenty of experienced help on hand from Gordon Cowans and Stuart Gray. In attack, another teenager, Ian Olney, with the much-admired David Platt, and in place of Adrian Heath, Tony Daly, who has an excellent personal record here at Main Road. Ian Ormondroyd and Paul Birch are the substitutes. We're underway, a wet afternoon, the pitch slicked by a lot of rain, the sort of conditions that attackers perhaps will relish and defenders might find themselves in some distress. Aston Villa in a new away kit, a chain strip of white and black basically, with some lilac trimming around the collar. Blake trying to squeeze it wide, but involved again the 18-year-old who comes from Nottingham and had a spell at junior level with Nottingham Forest. The referee is Stephen Lodge, a 36-year-old local government official who comes from Barnsley. Morley. Manchester City trying to get numbers into the centre. Whether Morley was trying to cut the ball back or trying to make light of a difficult angle, only he will know for sure. John Sillett, your Coventry City have beaten Manchester City this season. What was your impression of Mel Machin's team then?
Well, I saw them play against Southampton in midweek, and I thought they were a side that really warranted being very careful with set pieces. And sure enough, on set pieces they have Hinchcliffe, who is superb striker with his left foot and delivers a superb ball into the box. And I'd say to Villa, be wary, because we got called out very early on with it. And they were a side that never stopped fighting, which impressed me. They're going to be difficult to beat here, I think. I fancy them to win this game.
And Ron Atkinson, your Sheffield Wednesday beat Aston Villa, which is a special day for you given this season.
That's right. I mean, I think their key players today will be the two centre-halves, Mountfield and Nielsen. They're, as John said about Coventry, they're particularly effective on set plays, corners and free kicks. But there is a certain lack of pace in the heart of the defence without McGrath playing. And I'm just wondering whether Oldfield will get a chance to exploit that with his lightning pace.
Well, keep an eye on the set plays. That's the message from the two First Division managers alongside me. We've got a free kick for Villa, taken by Stuart Gray. And Olney trying to smuggle it in. He never really had the ball totally mastered. From a header down from Nielsen. And Ian Olney tries again, beaten by Brian Gale this time. Manchester City have had their problems defending. Andy Dibble's only 2 games this season, the first 2 back in the First Division. City lost them both, but he's been recalled in place of Paul Cooper. That's the only change, incidentally, from the side which lost 4-0 at Arsenal last week. But gave, even in those circumstances, a pretty good account of itself. It was Mountfield there.
That was a shame there, really, Martin, because the boy Lakin made a tremendous run inside and the ball was just a little heavy. the player looked up, saw his run, but just made his pass a little heavy.
Blake waiting by the near post area. Gale coming in from deeper, but Spink is in charge. There's a real zip about the early stages, though. Olney maybe glanced it, but Platt anticipated it with typical intelligence. Gray. Gage up in support from left back. And a goal! It's Daly! And Tony Daly, who would love to play at Manchester City every week. He's scored now in 3 games in a row here for Aston Villa. We've not had 5 minutes, and Aston Villa have a goal to celebrate. Kevin Gage did very well indeed. Ron Atkinson.
Yes, all credit to Kevin Gage. That's very similar to a goal we had scored against us yesterday. He's gone through, he's taken it off the side, which is not supposed to be his best side, left-footed, and he's dug out a brilliant ball here. And Daly's where he should be, on the far post with an empty net to head into.
Well, he didn't play from the start last week on the artificial surface at Luton, but brought back on the wider open spaces of Main Road, and Tony Daly has sent Aston Villa into a 1-goal lead. And it's Platt looking for number 2, put through by Blake. And City's uncertain defence having John Sillett something of a torrid time at the moment.
Well, I couldn't believe the space they had at the far post there, with a great cross by Gage. And there you're looking for your fullback and your central defender to be picking up the back post. They were just not there. You know, it's so free, you can't believe that. And there, again, the heart of the defence was wide open again, split wide open. But Platt makes some good runs in there and got to be watched.
Blake was pushing.
Yeah, the early signs are, Martin, that David Platt isn't going to play as an out-and-out front player. He's going to play just off of Olney and make runs from slightly deeper positions. It was his run that was instrumental for the goal, and there again, you saw there, he was very, very influential.
I have to ask you, Ron, when you were manager of Manchester United, you gave David Platt a free transfer.
That's
Do you
right.
regret that?
Well, we did it. At the time, we had people like Whiteside and Mark Hughes well in front of him. The boy never looked as if he was going to break through, and I actually spoke to Dario Gradi and recommended him there. Full credit to him. It's a good example to any kid dropping down into the lower divisions. I think now, I'll qualify that and think now, he could be a surprise choice, you know, for Bobby Robson's next Italian squad.
Morley. And it was Gray who made the intervention that time, as Manchester City look to strike back. And this is the Andy Hinchcliffe right wing corner with his left foot that John Sillett was talking about. Produced a succession of goals at the start of the season.
I think you'll find White going to stand at the far post, and there you are. They always prove you wrong, but normally it's great servicing from Hinchcliffe, and he didn't do it there, to be truthful. But I'll be waiting for that. I think that will arrive.
Here's Platt. Already he's moved up to England B level, and that role that he takes up so often for Aston Villa, halfway between midfield and an out-and-out attacker, makes him very, very difficult to track down. Good work on the ball from Ian Bishop. Brightwell's gone through the centre, and Ian Brightwell lost his bearings. In fact, the ball had dropped behind him. Price with the header out. Villa coming here with a couple of good away performances behind them relatively recently. A 1-1 draw at Wolves in the Littlewoods Cup, when many thought they might crumble to Graham Turner's powerful second division side, and then a 1-0 win at Luton 8 days ago. And Aston Villa carrying on where they left off then.
I think it's also a test of character for the City lads. They had things pretty well all their own way at Main Road. A defeat last week at Arsenal, now going a goal down early on in what's a very big game for them. It's going to test their character a little bit here.
White looking for the outside route.
I like the start Bishop's made to the match. I think he's the boy who's going to, if Man City are going to get in this game, Bishop's going to be the one to create the pass, I think. He looks as though he's got a fair bit of room, Martin. I think he's got the ability to spray the ball about.
What was an interesting team selection by Graham Taylor was to use Kevin Gage at left-back and not Stuart Gray, who filled in there when Bernie Gallagher was injured at Luton. And the thinking behind it is that they didn't want to switch another position and move Gray from the job he's been doing well on the left-hand side of midfield.
That's right. Well, if, as you say, if Stuart Gray had dropped out of the midfield, they would have been without a natural left-sided midfield player. More so interested with the inclusion of Blake. I saw him play a couple of weeks ago in the Villa reserves, and he looked very, very impressive, making forward runs.
Bishop takes the free kick, and the ball veered away from Chris Price and towards Trevor Morley.
Morley led his defender in brilliantly there, really, to get his body across the face of the defender, Martin. He was very unlucky. It's a very good header considering circumstances. I thought he did well to get in front.
Mark Blake. John, have you seen him?
Yes, I saw him in a youth match, and it was against Coventry, and the ball was played to the right winger, just level with the 18-yard box.
Just break off as Manchester City have the ball with their right winger, David White. Redmond covering. Yes, John.
And Blake was on the edge of the centre circle, and he made the most fantastic run to the near post to make contact with the cross, as though somebody had set a pistol off and said go. And it was a tremendous run and tremendous finish from the boy. Very impressed with his engine, very impressed with his ability to get forward.
Dibble comes and makes a safe catch. Well, Mark Blake describes himself as a ball-winning midfield player who likes to support the attack with just the sort of runs that you've been talking about, John Sillett. The back header from Morley. Here's Gage. Ron, I've been talking about Tony Daly and how players somehow seem to have special grounds. Is that something that you're aware of when you pick teams?
I think so, yes. Sometimes you talk about horses for courses, and the thing about Main Road, of course, it's a big, wide pitch, and somebody like Daly is a little bit of a flying machine.
White coming in.
Can possibly exploit the wide open spaces, very much as the lad White does for City. I mean, a lot of, whenever you see City in action, very often it's White that's starting the first move, hitting the ball across the face of the goal, which he's very, very good at. And I could see Daly, given the service, doing the same job.
I think our fans, that's Coventry and Sheffield fans, think Ron and I both pick horses, I think, all the time instead of footballers, Mark.
Fleming just driving the ball against Gray. Redmond. And the linesman has his flag up. If you've just joined us on this wet Sunday afternoon, Aston Villa with Kevin Gage here having played a major part in the goal scored by Tony Daly in the 5th minute. Aston Villa are leading Manchester City at Main Road by 1-0.
there's poor service going into the front. There's a free kick there, and it's not really worked out. The service got to be into the front men, and it's got to be to a player. He's just hopefully knocked the ball behind there, and I cannot abide watching that sort of thing. The work that's done in training, Martin, we work on it week in, week out, as to hit players' feet or to knock a ball short so they can come off and collect it. And there's a wasted ball gone in.
To be fair, John, I don't really think that was the plan.
Here's Gale. What's he going to do with it? He's got Oldfield through the centre, and White, as usual, providing the width on the right-hand side. A cross on the run. It's a difficult technique.
He's good at it though, Martin, isn't he, Whitey? You've seen enough of him to know he knocks good balls in. And that's the first time, I think, in the game that they've tried to play a ball in behind the Villa defence, which is very, very important. They'll certainly expose Nielsen for lack of pace if they can get the ball through enough.
Platt.
Great run by Blake.
And Blake thought about what he was trying to do, and it was an interesting idea to play it beyond Brian Gale for Ian Olney to chase. Bishop giving Fleming a problem. David Platt went in with a rather awkward lunge that might have conceded a free kick, but it hasn't prevented the referee awarding Villa the corner. And Derek Mountfield is certainly the man in form in terms of contributing goals from set plays for Villa. Scored in each of the last two games. But this is Lake, and City look to spring out and use the driving, running power of Oldfield. But again, Gage was equal to the task. Ian Olney nominated in the Midlands as the young player of September. The overall award, incidentally, went to Manchester City's David White. Lovely touch by Olney. Delightful flick for Cowans. Daly's in there hunting again. And Paul Lake, who's quite capable of playing as a defender, defending from midfield on that occasion, very tidily.
Yeah, he's somebody, you know, I think he could be one of the great players of the 90s, Paul Lake. Versatile. I don't think he's really set off this season as well as he's done in the past, but he's a natural athlete, got good quality, and can play in a number of positions. He's somebody I personally would like to see given a little bit of an opportunity in the England build-up in the friendly games.
I just wonder, John, has he found his best position yet?
No, I feel that, Martin. I feel when you've got a player of his ability, you're inclined to just say, right, I've got a problem at right back, I'll put him in at right back. I've got a problem at outside left, I'll put him outside left, because he's got so much ability, the boy. I would like to see him settle in the position he's in now. I think that's his position, in the middle of the midfield, and spraying the ball about, and he has a good brain, good touch, and he's got a great physique.
So too has Platt, got a good touch, and Dibble, well, he couldn't say the same about the save. It was a rather scrambling stop. And David Platt, again attracted to the opening with his ability to sense out a shooting chance. First to a loose ball. Came off Redmond.
Yes, certainly at the moment, Martin, City's back four is all at, well, it's a sixes and sevens. They can't pick up, as you say, Platt is giving them all sorts of problems on his runs.
That's a solid header by Gale, but directed only back where the ball had come from, to Cowans. Olney. Well, we saw a moment or two ago David Platt fastening on to this chance, John. And what about the goalkeeping here?
Well, really, Martin, I thought he should have come and collected this, I did. Oh, that save there, sorry. I was talking about the cross there. I felt that the keeper should have been out there and amongst it. You know, his defence needs help at the moment from him, and they're looking for him to come and collect the ball. And I thought Andy could have done that there. I thought he had a great chance.
Looking back at the replay again, bearing in mind we had a greasy ball for the goalkeeper to deal with, it was a save that did its job, shall we say.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at the left back from the corner, Hinchcliffe. He didn't take his hand off the post from the first corner. I don't think he realised it was coming across. They just seem to be lacking in concentration. Especially
Manchester City a goal down. White. Oldfield. David Oldfield, 5 goals in his previous 5 games. Coming to terms now with his life at Manchester City. Coming here, an expensive signing, £650,000 from Luton Town, and yet relatively inexperienced at Luton, where he was often used as a substitute and in and out of the side. Lake. Oldfield. Well, the control was good. The pass was played without really looking to see where White was. Platt. John, I think there was been some talk in the Midlands that Aston Villa were coming here to spoil the game, but it hasn't started like that. Obviously the early goal helped.
Yeah, no way though. You know, the way they started off, Martin, it's obvious they were going to get men forward and they were going to push forward. And playing the young boy Blake, I think that shows that really and daily that they want to get the ball into the opposing half and let Platt do his work from there, because he is tremendous at the moment. He's as good a striker as there is in the First Division, in my opinion.
Olney earns Villa a free kick.
I think they're a little bit unlucky there, the Villa, because as Olney was negotiating the ball, Blake has set off on a flying run through the middle of the City defence. I think that's rather hindered them, the referee blowing up for a free kick there.
Maybe Derek Mountfield will be pleased, though. I think it's given him the opportunity to come forward again.
Martin, I'm looking here. Nobody seems to have the job to pick anybody up in the Man City defence. Platt's free again.
That came off Lake, and Mountfield is going to get there. And Dibble rescued Manchester City. Platt was flying in. He thought the ball was loose and he was entitled to compete for it. That wasn't a feeling shared by the Manchester City defenders, and Andy Dibble is laid out. The referee is going to talk to Platt, and the notebook is out.
I think Platt is being punished there by his own enthusiasm. Certainly the keeper hadn't got a safe hold on the ball. In fact, Dibble's been out for a while and looks a little bit rusty. The ball's half loose. I think Platt's gone in with a genuine desire to try and score a goal.
Ron, we would have given him a rollicking at half-time if he hadn't gone for that, wouldn't we?
Oh, exactly right. I mean, I think he's very unlucky. I think the referee's been a bit hasty there. You don't like to see goalkeepers getting kicked in the head like the boy probably has done, but you've got to take into account a player's intentions, and certainly, knowing Platt as well, I don't think he's the type of boy that would go and try and kick a lump off a keeper.
He's definitely tried to play the ball for me.
Well, let's get a word now from the touchline, Gary Newbon.
Well, Justin, good to see you back, possibly in the First Division. Do you think there's a chance you'll get on today?
You never know. If you're one of the subs, there's a good chance that you may do or may not, but it's a team game. If I don't, it means that we've won, so I'll be very happy with that.
How do you think it's going so far? Manchester City looking a little bit suspect at the back.
Well, it's early days yet, and Aston Villa are a good team. They're attacking us well and hard at the moment, but we just keep going. It's a long way to go as yet.
So, Justin Fashanu, who is one of the Manchester City substitutes today, one of the more amazing stories of the season. His comeback. He hasn't played in the First Division since December 1983, but he might get on here. That's because of a severe knee injury, his recent difficulties. He has been playing, though, in Canada, and he's on a short contract with Manchester City. Olney. This is Cowans. And the offside flag comes to the help of City. Gordon Cowans, incidentally, started his distinguished career making his debut for Aston Villa on this ground. That was way back in 1976, when he was a 17-year-old apprentice. And we talk about injuries, and he had a terrible broken leg when he was very much part of the England setup. Aston Villa continue to do well. Gray and Olney getting a little too close to each other. Nielsen. Well, Redmond wanting to keep the ball and not just boot it away, and then measure a pass for White. Just skidded off the damp surface beyond David White. For that understanding, Redmond and White have been playing in the same team since they were 12-year-olds. And how well Manchester City have developed as a family club, really. They haven't been able to buy players. Their finances have been in a parlour state, although that's improving now. So they produced their own.
I think a lot of that credit, Martin, goes to Ken Barnes. He's done a superb job scouting for them.
Ken Barnes, the chief scout, father of Peter Barnes, of course. That was one youngster who was always going to come and play for Manchester City. Well, it's Bishop over the ball. And Hinchcliffe who shoots. Chris Bryce came out bravely.
It's interesting, Martin, what you do in those situations. You line the wall up and you have one long side of the wall. He's usually the bravest and the quickest man in the team. And I've worked with little Chrissy Price, and he's as brave as a pebble there.
Oldfield. It was a moment of opportunism, really. Hardly a created chance. But the ball fell David Oldfield's way, and he was looking to drive it inside the near post.
Yeah, I think that's the mark of a lad that's scoring goals. I mean, he didn't need a second look at it, did he? It just falls in a little bit of space, a little bit of, well, very little time, and bang, he's had a go, and he's very unlucky there.
John, that was Ian Olney back defending, and sometimes strikers can be your own worst enemies in their own box.
They're a disaster normally. They have been for me at times. But at the same time, you need them back there. If the big centre-half comes up, you've got to bring your big strikers back with them. And hopefully, with all the work you do at it, you hope it's going to turn out all right on the day. Yesterday, we had one of those days where it just didn't turn right, Martin.
I was hoping we could get through with the two of you without mentioning yesterday's results.
Well, don't mention it then.
Bishop. Started with Everton, then Carlisle and Bournemouth, where he began to blossom. Brightwell. Well, Gale playing it to Gage, two former Wimbledon players, but they're on opposing sides here.
Yeah, I mean, Graham Taylor apparently was talking about not making too many changes in midfield, hence the reason for playing Gage at left-back. I reckon he's playing him there a little bit because he knows White can be a threat, and, of course, Gage, with his Wimbledon upbringing, can put a little bit of shoe about if necessary, can't he?
Well, I think he knows what his leather boots are for. Let's put it that way, Rob. He has autographed the back of the odd leg.
Daly. Here's Hinchcliffe. All credit to Aston Villa. They haven't allowed Manchester City to settle right from the off. Brightwell. Nielsen's header wasn't over-decisive, but Gordon Cowans, with excellent technique, made sure that Aston Villa didn't lose out. And we talk about Graham Taylor's teams as long ball teams, but when you've got a player like Cowan's out there, there's quite a lot coming through midfield.
Yeah, I tried to sign Gordon from Italy, to be truthful, and I thought I'd got him, but at the last minute he decided Villa, you know, the twangs of Villa obviously pulled very heavily on the deal, and he decided to join them. But I fancied Gordon to sit in the middle of my midfield and spray the ball about to feet, and he has got that great ability still, even at this age, to do that.
You're talking, John, when he came back from his 3 years in Italy, that you were in for him then, yes.
That's right.
Fleming, but it's gone across the back line rather than forward. Mark Blake was up well. He's not looking out of place at all. The 18-year-old playing only his second league game.
I think one of the problems Manchester City are having at the back, Martin, is the fact that the two centre defenders are being asked to cover too much ground and cover too much space. Both Fleming and Hinchcliffe like to push on from the full-back positions, and it means that Gale and Redmond have got an awful lot of ground to cover, and Platt in particular is exploiting that space.
Brightwell's run offside, and he can run, and he should be able to do with his family pedigree.
You have a problem in football, you know, Martin, when your two full-backs push in advance of your two central defenders. And if you look at the back four of Man City, that's what's happening. They're leaving 1 against 1 with the two backmen. Both full-backs are pushed in advance of them. And they're always suspect then on the break. Chrissy Price is a young boy I signed from Hereford. It looks as though we went to the same barbers while we were there.
And he'd be pleased for me to say he's still only 29 and got a lot of football left in him. In fact, a late entrant into the First Division arena. Daly, the scorer of the game's first goal. Still Daly. Broken up by Redmond. Only Oldfield is forward for Manchester City, but support was closer at hand from Lake. Morley. There's some polish about this move. It's really the best that City have put together, and it came on the counter-attack.
Yeah, it was a great move from the City. Spinks was interesting there. He was giving the defenders a little bit of flack. I think there's a fair amount of hesitation on his point.
Gale got to it, and Morley was about to throw himself in for what he believed would be the killer touch to equalise. Ball just diverted away from him.
I think there, Martin, young Blake must have covered 60 yards to try and latch onto that pass. Realising he can't get it, he shuts the keeper off and he forces Redmond into an error, which keeps the Villa on the attack here.
Away from Gale, held up well by Oldfield. Here's Lake. Price. Well, Chris Price is exceptionally sharp, and Bishop made a genuine attempt to play the ball but was deceived by the acceleration of the Aston Villa right back.
He's a great little character. He'll look to get forward all day long for you, Chris. Very honest. And they've got a lot of skill when he gets into the last third of the opposing field, which is unusual really for fullbacks.
Mountfield takes the free kick. Gray climbed very well. Price actually is a little bit disappointed. He hasn't scored for Aston Villa yet. This is his second season, and yet his last season with Blackburn Rovers he got into double figures, mostly playing at right back.
He scored some great goals for me at Hereford by picking up crosses from the left where he'd made blind runs into the box.
Platt looking to angle it for Olney.
By blind runs, Martin, I don't mean he had his hand over his eyes. I mean, he's coming on the opposite side to what the defenders would expect him to come on. They'll be looking one way and he comes round the back of them.
Mountfield. Blake was looking for the feet of Olney, but he had other ideas for a through pass. White. David White made all 3 goals in City's last league game here against Luton. Hinchcliffe. For Ron, I would think Graham Taylor would be very pleased with the attitude of his Aston Villa team. They're doing the job so far.
Yes, they've played very well, very controlled. They've got a game plan and they've stuck at it. The only little disappointing area of their play, I would think, is that Daly perhaps hasn't had quite as much of the ball in the wide position as they possibly would have liked to have get it in. Everything else is going well for them.
Mountfield. Tony Daly, a real Aston Villa product, born and brought up close to Villa Park, very much has the club at heart. Oldfield. Morley the target this time. Aston Villa, who missed out on relegation last season by just 1 point and 1 place, and there were some doubters in the West Midlands the way they started off this time. But they're involved in a useful run at the moment, and it would be very satisfying for the management and indeed for the supporters if they could continue that at Main Road.
Yeah, that just shows what confidence can do for you, Martin. I saw them play against Liverpool earlier in the season. They got well hammered, finished in a 1-1 draw. They looked very nervous and hesitant against us. But today, 2 or 3 good results behind them. They're playing well, they're playing composed, they're knocking it about. And the lad up front looks as if he's running on fresh air, there's Platty.
I think a big difference with both sides at the moment are the way that the Villa forwards are putting the back 4 of Man City under pressure. They're chasing every ball, they're making it very difficult for the back 4 of City to play. Whereas you look at the other end and you can see the fullbacks are dropping off and receiving the ball, the central defenders are receiving the ball with plenty of space and plenty of time, Marty.
Eight minutes to go to half-time. Andy Hinchcliffe with the free kick. On from White, and Spink has to come. Blake. But Blake is there to stop him. And it's a Villa free kick. Cowans has got Olney and Platt waiting on the edge of the area. Stuart Gray to the left, and he selects Gray as his target. Covered though by Gary Fleming. And White dropping back to help out as well. Gage. Well, he is naturally right-footed and turning his most comfortable way, just ran the ball out of play.
John was talking earlier about wanting to sign Gordon Cowans when he was leaving Italy, you know.
Platt. I think you were concerned there, Ron, that David Platt was going to do something dramatic.
Yeah, it looks as if something was going to happen, didn't it? And I just wonder how much of a coincidence it is that Villa's run has coincided with his return in the middle of midfield. You know, it's no secret. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, they wanted the fella out the door. Good pros, come back in, and looks as if he's going to say, I'll show people there's plenty of life in me.
And Blake, with the strength that is one of his attributes, but by no means the only one. Mark Blake played for England schoolboys, England youth. Scored a goal at Wembley in a schoolboy international against Italy that was also live on television. So he's not new to this particular experience.
I knew his father well, Martin Sexton.
And it's Blake diving in again. Manchester City in a position where they've got to fight their way back into the game on their own ground. Having had a run of home triumphs behind them, some spectacular ones as well, notably, of course, against Manchester United. But it's a different story in this match.
Yeah, having said that, Martin, they've got to be very, very careful as well that they don't go 2 down. I mean, 1 down, you're always capable of catching up on that. And the way City play, they're always liable to make chances. I mean, we've been a little bit critical of the way they defended, but in all credit to them, they play the game in a terrific way. I mean, it's a sort of football that, particularly when it's coming up, I'd watch.
Bishop. Hinchcliffe's come in field, and Daly came with him and fouled him.
I would like to see the boy Gary Fleming. He is the spare man in the City side at the moment out here. He should be causing a lot more problems by making forward runs, and he'd be dragging the Aston Villa forwards back with him. I think he's got to start looking to getting forward now.
Bishop takes the free kick. Gale, White, and Spink has to make an awkward save from David Oldfield. A ball that bounced up at the goalkeeper. After Brian Gale had won the header, Oldfield took the shot well. It wasn't an easy ball to control. Bishop. Mountfield was so tight on Morley, he felt him coming and looked to slip him.
That's the first time they've tried to turn their defenders, and I think that's a way that Man City have got to play. They've got to play balls into feet and ask the strikers to try and turn down the channels, because the 2 central defenders lack a little pace.
Well, problems here for Aston Villa, but the wall does its job from the shot from Bishop. Fleming, you were talking about him, John Sillett, from right back, could push on. Maybe they're worried about him running into David White's territory.
No, but I think the territory he didn't run in with David White is the space behind the fullback. I would be inclined to try and use White with balls over the top of the fullback or inside the fullback and use his pace.
Now Gage caught White then after the foul. There was a bit of leapfrog really, but he left a boot in there that connected with White around the left ear. The referee had a word but no more. Well, if you've just joined us, this is the one goal that you missed, made by Kevin Gage, scored at the far post by Tony Daly in the 5th minute. Olney. He screened it well. Now Gage. Oldfield. Running away from Cowans. Hinchcliffe is up with him and free. Aston Villa turning to try and repair the damage, and they do that.
You know, that's a situation, but Andy Hinchcliffe has worked at that, at knocking balls in from that position. I bet he does about 100 of those a week, and of 100 he'll probably knock 95 perfect balls in. When it's needed to produce 5 minutes before half-time in a vital league game, just couldn't make it. I'd have a little bit of a disagreement with John. John was talking about Fleming's got to come forward. I would think if I was Mel Machin, I'd be quite happy to sit Fleming in and make sure that the Villa strikers didn't get too much space, but make sure when he does get it, John, that he services White. I think if White had plenty of good possession, he could give him doubts.
Well, the possession was with Daly, and it concerned Hinchcliffe so much that he made a rash challenge. Sometimes you feel, watching Tony Daly, John, I don't know what it's like when you put a team up against him, but you wonder whether he knows exactly himself what he's going to do, but it can often be very spectacular.
He's got great balance, and he's got great pace, and as you say, Marty, I agree with you. You wouldn't know where he's going to go, and I honestly think sometimes he doesn't know, but at the same time you look for his end product, and his end product has been more than useful. But we'll go back to the point Ron was talking about. With Fleming, if he was coming in and pushing his central defender over one and saying, right, you're the spare man, I would accept his point. But seeing as it is, he's playing in a little hole here.
Just to cut across you, John, this is the free kick Aston Villa have scored from in their last 2 games. Mountfield both times, he's right in there again. At Wolves and at Luton, both taken by Cowans, with the ball bent in towards the goalkeeper, but in that area behind the back line of defenders. But not 3rd time in a row yet. We're in stoppage time at the end of a first half that sped by. A first half that Aston Villa can be proud of. Manchester City less so, although the signs towards the end of the half that they were beginning to warm to their task, which was made more difficult by Tony Daly returning to the Aston Villa side with a goal on a ground where he's done so well in past years. After the break, we've got action from yesterday's lavish First Division programme, so Stoke made tactical substitutions. Aston Villa have brought on Paul Birch to play wide on the right of their midfield. They've taken Mark Blake off. David Platt, we understand, is going to drop a little deeper, and they're hoping to get Tony Daly to use his pace through the centre in the second half, having been confined to playing on the right in the first 45 minutes. Clive Allen is on for Ian Brightwell. Manchester City, understandably, a goal down, looking for more up front. And Mountfield joined by Nielsen in the centre at this Cowans free kick. It's a corner. It's amazing how Derek Mountfield has a knack of scoring goals. He did it, of course, so successfully with Everton. He waits around the penalty spot. Dibble paws it away. Oh, and Gage and Price both guilty of sloppy play, really, and it's got Price into trouble. Clive Allen determined to make an impact straight away. John Sillett.
I can't believe that. There's a fella there that's made a great defensive recovery, and he's being booked for it. For me, I thought he did exceptionally well to get back there, mate.
Sean Newman's got a Twickenham for your holidays. The fella's played a horrible, ugly back pass. Allen's got a more than even money chance of getting it, and Price has done nothing more than impede him. He's in another era. He's been.
We'd love them doing a bit more. for us than that. I want them to get back there and to get their body in front and do that sort of thing, me. I'm not saying give silly fouls away, but I'm saying get your body back across him and say, right, let's get hold of that ball and start playing again.
John, I'll tell you what I find an interesting situation, the fact that Malmachin should select 2 central strikers as substitutes. And we understand that he's got McNabb available as well. You know, when you're picking your side, you always like to try and balance it off with, say, 1 defender, 1 striker.
I was trying to work out what he'd be saying at half-time, Ron, to his players. You know, for me, I think Clive Allen, I'm a fan of his because he's always done well against us, I suppose, really. But I think he's a must in any side because he's got that great knack of scoring goals. And to pick him as a sub surprised me at the start. I would have definitely had him on the park.
Well, the referee has sorted out the incident on the far side involving Stuart Gray and Trevor Morley.
We'll go back to my point.
Yes, John.
I feel that Clive Allen's a great mover.
It's a red card, I'm sorry, I've got to cut across you there. And they both have to go. Morley, who played his first game for Manchester City against Aston Villa early in 1988. And Stephen Lodge saw the episode on the far side. Morley makes the long walk with Stuart Gray for company. Well, it all started at this throw. Gray cleared and Morley came into him, and then Gray retaliated and pushed him down. Both players sent off. Price, but there was a push by Allen. Ron Atkinson.
Yeah, in my book, I think, quite frankly, I think Morley, on the look of what we've seen, and obviously we've got the advantage of a replay, I think Morley looks as if he's been a bit unlucky to be sent off. Certainly there's no excuse for Gray. Retaliation, he's hit him, he's punched him off the ball, and I think Morley made a bit of a meal of it, to be fair, but Gray's got no right to walk around throwing fists at people.
Price. It's 10 aside. And 2 clubs with good disciplinary records have each lost a player.
Yeah, the interesting thing, it hasn't been a particularly angry game. I mean, the emphasis by and large has been put on control football, and we've seen a number of bookings and now 2 sending offs.
Sometimes we say to our players, Ron, look, just control yourself, walk away from the situation. And this is players, I'm sorry, of today. They go, they throw their punch, they have their kick after the ball, and it's just ridiculous.
So Morley for the challenge with the elbow up, and Stuart Gray for retaliating. Both experienced players. John Sillett, your view on this? As Morley comes in.
Well, Morley's gone in late, hasn't he? He's had his elbow in Gray's, under Gray's chin, and there you are, the retaliation comes in. Just ridiculous. You know, you walk away from that situation and let the referee deal with that. He has come in late.
He's hardly touched him, John, to be fair, has he?
No, not really, Ron, but he's come in late, you know, and therefore the referee has given a foul and he goes and retaliates. You haven't got a leg to stand on as a manager or a coach.
I mean, the number of times you see a situation like that where players bump into each other or collide or whatever, and I mean, there's no real need for what Gray's done. I think Gray's totally out of order there, to be fair.
White. Manchester City still looking for the final ball from that build-up on the right-hand side. That's such an essential part of the way they play the game. Oldfield. White in again. It's an excellent ball. Oh, Allen! And it's Lake. And then it's Spink.
Good move.
My goodness. By Clive Allen's high standards, that was a straightforward opportunity. But he tucked it against the inside of the post. Lake with a difficult ball to hit the second time. Forced the goalkeeper into the save, but White making an impact now.
Vintage Manchester City, a tremendous 1-2 on the outside with White. Good ball across the middle, and in all fairness, Clive Allen's tucked it away nicely, or so he thinks.
It's Allen again. I've watched him train so often, and he concentrates all the time on hitting the target. And I suppose he was off target, but by millimetres.
I would have gone home skint again. I'd have put my wages on him scoring there. He is superb in those situations. I'd have been brassic linked. That's what I've been waiting to see, Ron. The right back come forward and to start passing that ball around. He's not really going positively at it.
But Clive Allen started his career with Queen's Park Rangers, and his very first league goal was against Aston Villa back in March 1979, and he came on as a substitute then. And lightning nearly struck against Villa again. Fleming. Much better from Manchester City at the moment. But Lake wanted a player to the left and Hinchcliffe wasn't there. He'd held his ground, so they go through the middle. Oldfield, play on.
Swan Lake.
Ron, a dive, yes?
Yes, I mean, he's just simply back-tackling. He has made a bit of a meal of it. Just getting back to the sending off. So I've got a funny old feeling that's going to affect Aston Villa far more than Man City, actually, because Gray was doing a little bit of a helping out job on David White with Kevin Gage. Now it means that Gage has got to contest 1v1 now all the match virtually against White, and White looks the main threat to me.
Allen's offside. It's interesting, I've been involved in a lot of live transmissions since we were allowed to bring you the games as they happen, and the only other sending off I can ever recall in a game which was shown live was Kevin Moran getting sent off for Manchester United in that FA Cup final against Everton. In league games, I don't think anyone has gone before, and I have a theory that players behave better usually when they know their behaviour is open to such scrutiny.
Ashley Grimes at West Ham.
No, not live. But we'll debate that one afterwards, Rob. Certainly televised, but not live. Bishop. That's a magnificent ball for David White on the gallop. Allen was launching himself, and Kent Nielsen somehow got to it for Villa, facing his own goal.
Clive Allen must have lost a yard since we played it against him at Wembley. That was the cross very similar to the goal he scored against us when we played in the final at Wembley when he played for Tottenham. He led his defender in, Trevor Peake, on that day brilliantly. There he was a yard short. Great cross, great ball over the full-back's head.
White whips it in with the left foot. Allen! That season, John, he finished it off against you. 49 goals. He started it with a hat-trick on the opening day of the season against Aston Villa.
Yeah, he had a great year that year. That was his year, wasn't it? But he's
been on 10 minutes and might have had the same already. He's had 3 good strikes at goal already.
He's definitely improved the forward line for Man City for me. He's come there, he's had 1 very good chances and 2 half chances already. That's more than they made in the first half.
Fleming,
Right,
who
yeah.
goes on beyond White this time. Bishop. Lake did well to get ahead of the ball from midfield and gave Aston Villa a problem in the centre of their defence. David Platt now having to operate much more in his own half. That will certainly suit Manchester City. Allen for Oldfield.
Yes, looking at not only the sendings off, but the substitutions at half-time. I wondered about Graham Taylor. I think that was a brave decision to drop Platty back into midfield because he'd been arguably the best player on the field first half and was causing the Man City backlines all sorts of problems. Talking of problems, here we go again. I think he's realised he's already booked him once and doesn't want to get involved. Since David Platt's come out of the front line, it automatically means Man City are able to just build up pressure on Aston Villa.
I think Daly's gone wide on the left a little bit and they're playing with just the 1 striker up and they were on.
Yeah, I think at the moment they're just trying to do a containing job because obviously they've got the cushion of the lead, but quite frankly Man City have got the bit between the teeth now. Allen, as you say, has given them a hell of a new dimension. That looks a good balance, Allen and Oldfield. One that can hold it up and play and the other that can run on.
During this spell, if Man City get a goal, I think they could take the match over for me. I think they're at a stage now where it's vital that they get that break in the box and they get that goal. Otherwise, they could just burn themselves out.
Well sandwiched here between the wisdom and the wit of John Sillett and Ron Atkinson. One of my jobs is to keep you appraised with the score and the time. There's half an hour left. And Aston Villa still lead 1-0 with John Ward, their assistant manager. Graham Taylor just behind him and Ian Ormonroy getting ready for action. Birch. Platt's got forward this time. This is Price. Platt wanted to let it run, but in fact it wasn't an opinion shared really by Tony Daly, who was somewhat flat-footed behind him.
I've got a feeling Daly could be the one to come off if he brings Ormonroy on. I just wonder whether, in fact, Graham Taylor will bring Ormonroy on and playing wide on the left to try and help contain the menace of White.
Gale. Aston Villa check back as a group. Hinchcliffe. Allen saw the goalkeeper coming, thought that he could get there first, but Nigel Spink had moved sharply off his line.
Surprised me a little bit there, Clive Allen. Hesitated a bit, I thought, because Hinchcliffe played a tremendous ball in for him. I thought it was made to measure for Allen.
He looked first, didn't he? He even checked his run, having a look where the keeper was. Normally, he bombs across the face of a keeper there and would get that ball 9 out of 10 times.
That's why I think that he was sure he was going to get there first. Lured the goalkeeper out and just get a touch, Joe.
Yes, but I think he was trying to be a bit too clever if he tried to do that. I would say go for the ball, he would have won it quite easily. It was a great ball, there's one set, open man behind. Great ball.
It has been a good period since half-time there for Manchester City, and like you say, in your good periods you really do need to score.
Remember that Manchester City have lost all their 4 away games in the First Division this season, so they need to keep ticking over at home. Birch, in that beavering style that he has. Well, Daly's got away this time. We haven't seen too much of him since the goal. He's got an opportunity now to measure across with Platt and Olney in the centre. Looks instead for help from Cowans. And Aston Villa have a corner. And I would think they'd be a little bit relieved to have the ball up this end of the field for a while.
It's the interesting thing, both John and myself talked before the game about the set plays. We haven't yet seen a good corner knocked in.
Mountfield! Oh, it's in! Ian Olney, we've seen a good corner now, Ron.
Just about to say we have now.
That proved you wrong, Ron, again. That's the game. That was a great ball in, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was exactly the point I was trying to make. I mean, Gordon Cowans would call himself a corner kick specialist. Hinchcliffe, as you said earlier, is brilliant, and yet prior to that, John, there's been 5 corners or so. That was perfect.
Mountfield blocked by Fleming twice, but Olney found the roof of the net, and Aston Villa emerged from a period when their lead was being threatened to increase it. City 0, Villa 2. We're in the 19th minute of the second half.
I can't see the substitute coming on now. I made that mistake at Millwall, where I was going to pull young David Smith off, and at that time I gave him the sort of 1 minute warning. He went straight past the fullback and knocked it in the back of the net. So I had to put the number back in of the player I was going to, David Smith, the number 11. And about 5 minutes later, I got Mickey Gin's number out, number 7. And as it came off, he said, "Sil, why did you take me off?" I said, "Yours was the next number, son. You were so unlucky."
Well, Derek Mountfield almost added to his rising tally, but it was only the scorer. A 19-year-old learning his trade, really, in the First Division. It's his 4th of the season. And sometimes he's been pulled off because he's suffered from a virus. I think he came off against you, Ron, in the defeat at Sheffield Wednesday.
Well, they finished up in the second half, Graham, when had both Nielsen and Omenroyd up front. It was like Land of the Giants, actually, when they were chasing the game, albeit they were a goal down. Certainly on that occasion didn't play with anything like the control they're showing today.
Birch. Cowans. Daly pulling left, Fleming going with him.
Fleming, the right back, looks happier with a job to do now. He's got somebody to pick up.
Oh, and Gale has had the ball taken from him by Platt, who anticipated that brilliantly. Cowans lifted it for Platt, who's still onside. Olney was penalised.
Man City look dead at the back. They're not closing people down. There's no life in them. They've got to pick themselves up now and say, come on, how are we going to sort this out? And the first thing you've got to do is give effort for your club. And there they are. They're just sort of ambling in their own 18-yard box instead of seeing the urgency and really committing themselves to the job that's needed, which is to get some tackles in and win this ball and start getting forward.
Lake. Allen. Oh, The outlet for Aston Villa is Tony Daly. He's one-on-one against Fleming, but he ran into an area where Bishop could supply some cover. It's another individual battle here. Oldfield and Nielsen. Kent Nielsen, who hopes to be going to the World Cup finals with Denmark. He got a crucial goal for his country against Romania the week before last. Fleming. I'm sure Aston Villa will be pleased with the job that Kevin Gage has done. Well, the first time Aston Villa ever came to play Manchester City in Manchester was in the last century. They won 2-0. The last time they came was early in 1988. They won 2-0, and it's 2-0 they lead now.
Yeah. Getting back to John's point about the Manchester City defence, I mean, he talks as if it was commitment, John. I don't think it's commitment really or anything like that. I think when you've got young players in defensive positions, you need a controlling player. And at the moment, it looks very much as if City haven't really got anybody like that. I mean, Redmond appears to lack concentration. He's a young lad. Here we go again. Bit of a problem.
Birch kicked the ball away. Yeah. That's what the referee was attracted to. Back to league football comes Justin Fashanu. He's 28 years old now. His career finished in this country, it seemed, by a knee injury. His last appearance in the Football League was for Brighton in January 1986. He's on a 2-month contract with Manchester City to try to prove his fitness. And up he goes. John Sillett, did you consider signing Justin Fashanu?
Well, we've got a scout out in America called Jerry Sharp, and he looked at Justin, and the reports came back that Justin wasn't quite ready to come back into the First Division. This was nearly, what, 8 months ago, Martin, and it's great to see him back. He is the type of player that I think, if fit, could do a great job for any First Division club. There was a query about his fitness, though. Be interesting to see now.
He's been playing in a most accomplished way for the City reserve team, alongside a number of experienced players, like McNabb and Megson, who've been out of favour. But Daly, no doubting his fitness. Well, it's a match that's provided so many talking points. The return of Justin Fashanu is certainly one of them.
Yes, but I think what it has actually done, it means David White's going to have to play in midfield, I would think, with Lake, and he was arguably their most effective player. I mean, that was where the main threat seemed to be coming every time they got the ball to him, and I just wonder now whether they'll be able to play so wide.
Well, you have to go back almost 6 years to the last time Justin Fashanu scored in the First Division. Can he do that for Manchester City in this time of desperate need for them? But it's Villa looking likely on the break with Birch. It's deflected up and over. Dibble would have been stranded. But in any case, it wouldn't have mattered because the linesman was flagging on the far side for offside.
It now means that basically Man City have got four out-and-out strikers or 4 out-and-out front players. And looking at it in there, I mean, it looks as if Lake's got to cover the whole of the midfield himself. And quite honestly, I think you'll find Villa will have most of the ball now till the end of the game.
And they push the left back forward now. Have you seen that, Ron? He's pushed forward now. Hinchcliffe pushed forward. I think they'll have to watch it though, Man City. They could one more goal and they're stone dead.
Fashanu's flick. Olney. Birch has a spare man, and it's Chris Price. Three in the centre for Aston Villa. Daly! It was an inviting cross.
Great forward run by Chrissy Price here, and a great ball in, and Daly, to be fair to him, did well to get across the face of his defender, come across the front of him there. That's the type I'll be looking for from Man City to get players forward in those departments now. They've got to start saying to their fullbacks, well, go on, push on, but at the same time, they've got to also keep a level at the back whereby they're not committing the suicide that could happen.
I think, John, they've got too many players forward. I think they've got 4 forwards standing up there.
Yeah, but Ron, at the moment,
Graham Taylor, this is turning into an excellent away win, but do you have a view about the sending off?
No, I don't have any view at all, Gary, because we've got 10-15 minutes of this game to play yet. I'll give a view, if I have a view, I'll give it after the end of the game. I have no view, didn't see it.
What about the way Villa are playing at the moment?
I'm concerned that Manchester City have just put 3 front players up against us, and I don't want them to get in between our back markers. Because even though we're 2-0 up at the present time, and all we've got to do is keep playing to the basics and keep it right at the back, and just play it right. So it's not a question of losing your heads or anything like that. It's just a question of keeping it right, keeping the basics right, and keeping our marking right. Because we've got a chance always for a third goal as long as we don't push on stupidly. And then just pass it when we've got a chance running. It opens us up there. All right?
Thank you.
Our thanks to Graham Taylor for sharing his thoughts with us.
I would think deep down, though, he's very, very happy. Obviously, he's happy he's 2-0 up for a start, but I think he's very happy with the way City have gone tactically. It virtually means Villa can control the middle of the field without too much problems, and as you say, they could spend the next 15 minutes or so just passing the ball to each other.
Aston Villa have come through a tricky start to the second half. Their supporters who haven't made the journey to Main Road are watching in the central television area. I'm sure we're concerned, sitting on the edge of their sofas perhaps. But they'll be more relaxed now, and here's Birch looking to add more cause for comfort.
I couldn't agree more with what Graham Taylor said. Basically there, he's right, he's got to keep his shape at the back and just have his players, when they receive the ball, to do the simple thing and just knock it easy. And I think chances will come again.
The one thing you can say about Manchester City, though, it's been true down the years for them, they are always capable of scoring. Somehow, whoever's been the manager here, they found it hard to change something of a tradition. So unpredictable, Manchester City. Lake met it. In fact, if Justin Fashanu had called him then, Lake might have let the ball run on. Pleased to be out there, let alone really assert himself. We're into the last quarter of an hour. Olney, who collected Aston Villa's second goal. Collected a bang there from Andy Hinchcliffe.
Now this will be interesting, Martin. I had a first-class view of that. Hinchcliffe, that's just frustration and temper, but he's actually, I think possibly the lad might not be as badly hurt as he's appearing, but Hinchcliffe has definitely had a little nick at him as he's gone past him. He did it just after half-time as well. He's seen one of his mates get sent off, and it makes you wonder. That's a decent tackle. Now watch as he stands up. He has a little kick in him. I mean, he's already just seen one of his pals get sent off. I mean, it drives you up the wall, that sort of thing.
Andy Hinchcliffe collected more than 40 disciplinary points last season when Manchester City, of course, were in the second division. In fact, they tried to put a little bit more devil into his play, the coaching staff here. I don't think they've had to do that to Brian Gale.
That's not the kind of devil you try and put into their play, though, Martin, to, you know, to do the sneaky things like that. You know, you want them to be open and honest and tackle for the ball when it's a 50-50 ball.
Aston Villa with 2 goals on their side, time on their side. Mountfield, again, attracted to the ball in. Cowans. Oh, and Daly was on then, if the pass had got through.
Gordon Cowans has sat himself in just in front of the back 4, and he's picked up so many balls here. That's just what Man City are lacking, actually, an experienced player with the head to say, right, when I get the ball, I'll just keep us in possession and be patient. And he's done a great job for Villa during this period.
I bet he can't really believe, though, the freedom he's getting in there now. I mean, since the second goal, I think City's team play's gone all to pot. I mean, they were looking very good before that, okay? Bit unfortunate the sending off incident. Sure, they went 2 down, but certainly they've thrown all sort of shape and discipline all over the place now. Villa can virtually play at will now.
You see any Villa player now, he's in 10 yards of space when he receives the ball.
But there's still enough time left for Manchester City if they could score quickly to jangle some Aston Villa nerves.
I mean, they had a really nice shape up front, didn't they, with White on the right and Allen and Oldfield blending in the middle. And okay, they were unfortunate to go 2 down, but you always had the feeling they could have pulled something back. Now that, for me, that seems to have gone. I can't see any way back for them now. I really can't. I know that's a saying you should never make. In fact, as Graham Taylor said, there's probably more chance of Villa catching them on the break.
Well, that looks the biggest threat to me, that Villa are going to catch them. You know, the boy Daly at the moment is running 1 against 1, and he's definitely going to get by in a minute, and he could notch another one.
Redmond. Redmond will look for Fashanu here and find him. Well, the little touches haven't come off for Manchester City today. Olney, that's a great ball. Birch, and that was a great idea because Platt was unattended in the centre. When Aston Villa, with an organised pattern of play, responded in a very professional way to the call of Graham Taylor, to what he's asked them to do, got the boost of a goal after 5 minutes, and apart really from a spell early in the second half, when Clive Allen hit the post, they've never looked back. When the game was 11 aside, and since the sending off of Morley and Stuart Gray, since it's been 10 aside.
I mean, the problem they've got, Man City, of course, is once they say and hang their hat on the fact they're going to stick 4 players up the front, they've basically got to play a la Wimbledon. That's hit long balls. Well, my experience of watching City play, that's not the way they play. They're better at playing the passing game.
There it is, Ron. Just boot it into the heart of Villa's defending.
Yeah, it's a launch, and I'm not so sure. I mean, people like Clive Allen aren't going to thrive on that sort of thing. Whereas if they'd have just been patient and played their passing game, they might still have created chances. They were certainly doing so beforehand.
A throw to City. Blake scurrying across to take it. Oldfield. Fashanu.
They're just playing 4 men across the front in a line, and now they're starting to hit out for balls, as you say. They must drop somebody back into the midfield and start really passing their way through the Villa side. That's the only way they're going to do it. They're not going to do it with the long ball because they're all geared in now, Villa. They got the aerial battle won for me.
John, the problem is they've just taken their best passer off, haven't they, in Bishop?
Yeah, it surprised me a little bit, that did, one, to be truthful. There was a man I thought who did look as though he could create problems with his passing, and he's now off the pitch.
I mean, if they're having a problem, it wasn't really up front or in midfield. Their problems were in the back line.
That's exactly right. I've got to agree with you, and I don't want to.
Eight minutes left. Manchester City 0, Aston Villa 2.
This is interesting.
It's a difficult ball for Fleming. Daly for Platt. It's not an easy angle, but he made the goalkeeper save it. And you do feel there's a greater chance of Manchester City being caught out than there is of them scoring at the other end.
I was disappointed in Daly there. He shoved a great through ball for Platt and stopped. If he'd have kept going, he'd have got the rebound quite easily. Great run from Platt.
Dibble got his angles right, but it came off the goalkeeper, and there was no one following in, as John Sillett said. Daly. Once or twice the gaps have looked as wide as a motorway for Aston Villa to drive through. Redmond. Here's White. Fleming's outside him. Wasn't a bad try.
Been well impressed with him, David White. He's one of those, whenever I've been here in the past, you always wonder if he's going to make a good player. Had the little spell where he played right full-back. Now, you know, he's on the crest of a wave. Obviously today's not his day, but he's got all the makings of perhaps going to the very, very top in that position.
He's definitely shown penetration down that side. He's got the pace, he's got the power, and when he gets into the crossing position, I find him a very good crosser of a ball.
In fact, David White not just got a football brain, he's got a business brain as well. He helps out in his father's scrap metal business in the afternoons, working out the wages. Well, his own wages won't include a win bonus today, unless Manchester City give us a dramatic conclusion to what has been a dramatic game. No wonder the gates are up. First division football. It's a great product.
Okay.
Platt. Olney. It's a big pitch, Ron, to play a 10-a-side game on. There'll be some tired players out there.
Well, that's right. Certainly they'll all have light blue shirts on because the Villa players won't be tired. I mean, they'll be fresh as daisies now. Winning when possibly they didn't really expect to. Having plenty of the ball and enjoying themselves.
But Allen's quick free kick, Oldfield with a blast at goal. And the inspiration that Allen provided then still doesn't produce a breakthrough for Manchester City. It was Villa caught cold that time. Clive Allen just put the ball down, flicked it to Oldfield, who was on the same wavelength. And he went for power. And Nigel Spink was able to beat it away. Fashanu. Redmond roaring in. Well, last season I remember Tony DeRigo running from inside his own half to score for Chelsea when Manchester City were chasing a game, and Villa almost in a position to do the same.
But there, that was typical sharpness by Clive Allen. The set piece is a quick little back heel. That's how sharp strikers got to be. They've got to be aware, and they've got to do things so quickly. And he was so sharp there, and I love that type of thing, I do.
Platt and Redmond. An untidy tangle. No free kick.
Tell you what hasn't gone unnoticed, the fact that Ian Olney's doing a smashing job at right full back, you know.
Fashanu. Olney defending again, but oh, Redmond, and it's Birch with acres of space, and Tony Daly across the pitch. The flag has stayed down, and Andy Dibble dropped down to prevent what looked like a certain third for Villa.
That's about the third time the boy Redmond has given away a silly ball. You know, what they should be doing now is making sure they don't make those mistakes, because there's so much trouble at the back they're going to be in.
Birch played it. Ron Atkinson, I thought he might have been offside, Daly.
Yes, I was fully expecting the flag to go up.
Well, that would have been an own goal. It came off the Dane, Kent Nielsen, under pressure from Fashanu. But it's a corner. Fashanu met it behind Oldfield, as though Oldfield let it run on a call. Well, we're inside the last 2 minutes. Ron Atkinson, your impressions and perhaps a man of the match from you?
The fellow just competing for the ball now, Platty. I think for me, he'll run David White and Gordon Cowan's close.
Tony Daly will run on his own. And Dibble again has prevented the scoreline from becoming really embarrassing for Manchester City. And Tony Daly has scored one and could have had others. Hinchcliffe keeps it in. They wanted a deeper cross. John Sillett, your final observations and perhaps the player who's caught your eye?
Well, without a shadow of doubt, I think Villa will be much the better side, and David Platt, I think, has been superb for Villa. And the second half, Daly's done a great job at running at people and taking the game from the halfway line into the 18-yard box of Man City. Chrissy Price is backed up well at full-back. They're the much better balanced side, and they deserve their win.
Oldfield. And no one following in now as Manchester City wear the look of a side, but no, it hasn't been their day. A turning point, I'm sure, when Clive Allen hit the inside of the post at a time when it would have been 1-1. That was the one moment of fortune that Nigel Spink and Aston Villa had. Redmond. Allen. And Fashanu beaten to it by Spink. But Justin Fashanu's return will certainly spark a paragraph or two, I'm sure, in tomorrow's newspapers. This is Daly. Fleming showing him the inside route. And it hit Gale, who didn't flinch. For Aston Villa, this coming hard on the heels of a fine away performance at Wolves in the Littlewoods Cup and at Luton in the league. Another valiant away performance from Villa. 3 wins and a draw in their last 4 games now. Nielsen. Is there something still for City? Hinchcliffe. Allen. The referee from Barnsley, Stephen Lodge, has had a look at his watch. He checks again. Manchester City, remember, came here having won their last 4 games at Main Road. 12 goals in the last 3 of them. But Aston Villa did their homework.
Villa now just getting the numbers behind the ball and just containing.
Platt. We've had 2 goals, both for Aston Villa, 1 in each half from Tony Daly and Ian Olney. We've had 2 sendings off, Trevor Morley and Stuart Gray.